Now, Ask Dr. Love with psychotherapist, author, love and relationship expert Jamie Turndorf, Ph.D. For expert advice on love and relationships, call into the show at 888-463-6748. That's 888-GO-FOR-IT. Or you can submit your question online at AskDrLove.com. Now, here's Dr. Love.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask Dr. Love Radio. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf, and I'm happy to be with you for today's show. Or maybe I should say I'm grateful to be with you, because today's show is More Gratitude and Less Attitude, your key to lasting love. Did you know there's a decade of research proving the link between gratitude and relationship satisfaction? Well, stay tuned to find out how you can plump up the gratitude in your life. Now, I'm also going to be giving you 3 questions today. The first one's called Rebound Girl, and here I'm helping out a young woman who's carrying a grudge against her boyfriend who was still attached to his ex when he started a relationship with her. So stick around to find out the real reason why her grudge won't budge. And the second question I'm going to tackle is Depressed Boyfriend. I'm helping out a woman here who's trying to help her own boyfriend get over his depression by encouraging him to be more grateful for what he has. So stay tuned as I unveil the causes behind lack of gratitude and how she can help him turn the tide. And third question is need answers before it's too late. And here I'm helping a woman who says that she should be grateful that her boyfriend hasn't cheated on her despite her moodiness. And at the same time, she's not happy with her neglect of him. Oh, his neglect of her. I'm getting the his and the hers all messed up. She's not happy with his neglect of her. So stick around to find out the hidden reason why her boyfriend doesn't meet her needs and what she can do to turn things around. And then a little later in the show, I'm also going to do a reading between the sheets segment. This one's called Married Lady Who is Guilty Over Her Attraction to Another Man. And with this question, I'm helping a woman decipher what her crush can tell her about how she feels about her main squeeze. Alrighty, so let's get on to today's show. I'm talking about gratitude, how it helps you form and maintain happy relationships, and how you can cultivate it in yourself, your relationship, and your life. You know, in our secular world, we tend to overlook the link between faith, spirituality, and gratitude. But for those who were raised in faith, heartfelt thanks and appreciation is an integral part of loving God. And if you are a friend of prayer, you know that it's an act of discipline in which you take time out to love God. And the acronym ACTS, ACTS, sums up what prayer is about: adoration, contrition, thanks, and supplication. And prayer is the practice that helps you cultivate a heart that is open and loving of God. And the purpose of all this is to invite you to extend this attitude of thankfulness to all those who walk the earth. And because God lives in each of us, when we shower others in love and gratitude, we are simultaneously worshiping God. When the eyes of your heart are open, your heart is transformed into an overflowing well of gratitude. Gratitude for the sun that warms your skin, the silvery moon that lights your path, the chickadee who sings a love ballad just for you, the silky breeze that caresses your cheek, the food that you are fortunate to eat, the crisp fall air that your lungs are capable of breathing, the shelter that keeps you warm and dry, and the people who surround you in their loving embrace. When your heart is open, it's easy to swim in a sea of gratitude. And as you share your gratitude, you are love in action. Now, up until recently, there wasn't much talk about gratitude. But suddenly the concept has made its way into the mainstream circles because a decade of research has actually highlighted the numerous benefits of gratitude for physical and mental well-being. In addition, a hefty gulp of gratitude helps couples form and maintain close relationships. New research that I came across by Sarah Algo, I don't know how you say it, A-L-G-O-E, and her colleagues found that grateful couples are more satisfied in their relationships and they feel closer to each other. And these gratitude researchers also found that the more grateful participants in their studies were, the more likely they were to still be in their relationships 9 months later. Now, what does gratitude mean? We're all taught to say thank you when someone holds a door to us, but is this gratitude or is this just a formula that we've memorized? So when we talk about gratitude in relationships, we aren't just talking about the formulaic thanks we utter as a partner takes out the trash. A true definition of gratitude includes appreciating not just what your partner does for you, but who your partner is as a person. You're not just thankful that your partner cleaned the dishes, knowing that you hate that chore. Gratitude means remembering to worship your partner's essence, which includes his or her best traits, and reaffirming why you chose your honey in the first place. Now, the more grateful you are, the more you're going to want to keep your partner and the relationship. And it's human nature to want to hold on to whatever we covet or treasure. Think about it, If the item is really special to you, you're going to want to actually even guard it in a locked safe deposit box so that the item can never be taken from you. Well, I like to think of gratitude as a safe deposit box for your relationship. When you make it a point to share moments of gratitude by saying what you value in your partner, you are letting your partner know that he or she is precious to you. And thanks to emotional contagion, your feelings of gratitude will actually evoke a parallel response of gratitude in your partner. And through this act of worship, you both reaffirm that you recognize each other as a valuable partner worth holding on to. And this is how you entrust your partner and your relationship in an emotional safe deposit box. Now listen, there's a link between gratitude and what I call a relationship work ethic. So numerous studies show that on days when people feel more appreciative of their partners than normal, they also report increased feelings of commitment to their relationships. So it seems that feelings of gratitude are associated with a psychological motivation to maintain your relationship. For example, one study found that people reported being more thoughtful and responsive to their partner's needs on days when they felt more grateful for their partners. And in another study, couples were brought into a lab to talk about important topics in their relationships, and the participants who were more grateful for their partners were observed as being more caring and attentive listeners to their partners during these discussions. So much research has shown that being a more thoughtful and attentive partner is key for promoting intimacy in relationships. And these findings also suggest that gratitude might help people gain and maintain that intimacy. Think about it. When you feel motivated to maintain a relationship, you're naturally more willing to do the hard work that's necessary to keep that relationship thriving. And you're also more motivated to behave in ways that support rather than tear down your relationship. So this means when you feel grateful, you're naturally going to want to make the effort to be attentive, to listen, to work to understand how your partner feels, to accept responsibility for mistakes you've made, and to modify your behaviors to be more responsive to your partner. So can you see the snowball effect that occurs? The better you treat each other, the more grateful you are to have found each other, which makes you even more motivated to behave in relationship-supportive ways. Now, guess what? Gratitude is contagious. The more gratitude you sow, the more you reap. Have you ever noticed that when you're pissed off, everybody you come in contact with seems to be pissed off too? And at home, when you're snappy, your partner snaps back at you? Well, the reverse is also true. Gratitude is infectious, and it promotes what's called a cycle of generosity. And that is, one partner's gratitude can prompt both partners to think and act in ways that hold them together and promote a desire to keep their relationship. So when you recognize that you have a valuable partner and you actively value your partner, you help your partner feel more valued. But get this, when your partner feels appreciated, you are creating a grateful partner. And obviously, we humans are drawn to people who value us. And so as you can see, this ping-pong process creates an ever-increasing cycle of gratitude where both partners devote themselves to maintaining the gift that they have found in each other. And this is where the benefits of gratitude really grow, exponentially grow, because as I said, grateful partners think and act in ways that help them hold on to the relationship. And suddenly both partners are focused on maintaining that relationship. And interestingly, one powerful way that happy couples put gratitude in action is to actively listen to each other, because gratitude makes you want to give this gift to each other, and when you do, you signal a greater feeling of appreciation. Now, I want to say something to you about misplaced gratitude, because you have to be aware of the tendency, especially for abused partners, to fall into this pattern where they lick the boot of the person who's assaulting them emotionally or physically, and they offer all kinds of gratitude in the hopes of winning love. And this is a very self-damaging pattern that keeps the victim down and rewards the abuser, which only worsens this cycle. Now, I also want to say something to you about the bumps in the road, because even the best laid plans fail when we hit those inevitable potholes on the path to love. So when your relationship hits a bump in the road, when one of you is too tired, stressed, anxious, or poops the bed, so to speak, in one way or another, gratitude can easily turn to attitude. Now, here's where the real danger lies, because we all carry old scars with us into our relationships. These old scars I always talk about from childhood. When our partners let us down, it's very easy for us to drown emotionally and to flood with bad feelings, and then to drown our partners in the emotional cesspool that we're swimming in. And if this becomes a pattern, our relationships soon become polluted beyond repair. So here's how this happens. Let me give you an example. Bob and Joan. They're dining in a restaurant. He keeps checking his watch. She goes nuts on him. She shouts, "So you can't wait to get rid of me? Fine, ask for the check." Why did she go so nuts? Because her father never had time for her, so she just assumed Bob couldn't wait to ditch her. Meanwhile, poor Bob was just checking his watch to make sure to feed the meter on time. Joan, without knowing it, is suffering what I call the emotional lake effect. In a nutshell, our unconscious minds work by association, constantly comparing present-day events with childhood traumas. And when our partners let us down, we unconsciously connect the current offense with past hurts. And just like the actual lake effect, in which a storm gathers strength when it picks up moisture as it crosses the Great Lakes, well, the psyche does a similar operation. When we're hurt, the mind dips into the reservoir of our unconscious and dredges up similar past hurts. And our own internal emotional storm gathers force because we're actually reliving the pain over many, many previous similar hurts. And this explains why fireworks are going off inside of us over a relatively minor triggering event in the present. Now, you know you're suffering from the emotional lake effect when you find yourself drowning in intense emotions that you can't seem to shake. And the reason you can't shake the feelings is because this entire association operation is happening on an unconscious level. So in other words, you're having feeling memories that are disconnected from the actual memories. And you literally don't know what's hit you because it's all going on at an unconscious level. Making the conscious link to the original memories is the only way to lessen the storm. Okay? Now, my point is our old scars are instrumental in helping us to lose the gratitude. Now, I'm going to take a little break, and when I come back, I'm going to show you how to turn the tide and get out of this cycle in which old scars destroy your gratitude and your relationships. Be back in a moment on Ask Dr. Love Radio.
You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. To speak to Dr. Turndorf live on the air, call 888-463-6748. AskDrLove.com is the web's premier relationship advice site since 1996. Visit AskDrLove.com to search thousands of free relationship advice articles on any relationship issue you may have. Or you can submit a question to her free advice column. However, if you're listening live, why not call in? Don't be shy. Dr. Turndorf wants to help you, and this is a unique chance to get a personal answer from one of today's most respected experts. So, if you have a question for her, please call in now at 888-463-6748. That's 888-463-6748. Now back to Ask Dr. Love with Jamie Turndorf, Ph.D. Once again, here's Dr. Love.
Hello again, and welcome back to Ask Dr. Love Radio. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf, and I'm talking about gratitude, more gratitude and less attitude. And I was explaining how old scars from childhood really, really get our gratitude going for a hike. So what I was saying before I braked was, old scars are instrumental in helping us to lose the gratitude. Because when you dump your emotional storm on your partner, when your old scars get triggered, you're filled with the emotional storm, and then you dump the emotional storm on your partner. Obviously, that's the opposite of gratitude. And when a person is on the receiving end of your emotional poop storm, obviously your partner feels less than grateful toward you. And here's the problem. When gratitude wanes, your partner is going to feel less loving, less grateful, and it's going to make him naturally want to pull away and give you less. Now, in turn, your own old scars are going to be ripped open even more. Your hurt and your anger is going to intensify. Your partner's going to feel less grateful, and now you are trapped in the downwardly spiraling negative cycle that drives most couples to divorce court. So what can you do to derail this cycle? Now, if you've been listening to my show for a while, or you've been reading my books or columns, you often hear me talking about why it's necessary for you to work together as a team to help each other heal your old scars. Now, if you want your relationship to survive and thrive, you need to do this. Here's how it's done. First, I want you to become conscious of your mutual old scars. And once you know your old scars, you both make a pact to help each other heal them. And then each time you're activated, use my XY formula and calmly describe what happened to trigger you and what old scar was ripped open as a result of what just occurred. Now, the key to healing is to not turn your cannons on your partner and instead to turn your partner into your partner in healing. Now, as you discuss your old scar, and your partner listens with love and empathy, and vice versa, you are helping each other heal your old scars. And as you support each other in healing these scars, you are creating a state of gratitude rather than tearing it down. Now, how can you not be overflowing with gratitude for a partner who's helping you to heal your old scar? By holding you in love and giving you that patient listening ear that you lacked as a kid. Working together to heal is cultivating gratitude. The atmosphere of love and gratitude will further your healing efforts. Now, I fully explain how to use your relationship to heal these old scars in my book, Till Death Do Us Part. And as you heal, hurt and anger will soon take a backstage so that love and gratitude can assume their proper place at front and center stage. So heal your old scars and practice the discipline of gratitude. Consciously bow down. Take note and give thanks for all your partner's wonderful traits and share your wonder with your partner. This is the formula for lasting love. Alrighty. This is my quickie segment, you know. I forgot to tell you that when I came back. So let me give you some tweets and some other little treats during this segment. Here's one. Trick to having a relationship that sings. Be grateful for even the littlest things. Another tweet, a gratitude infection will prevent your partner's defection. Say that 3 times fast. If you want your relationship to thrive, remind your partner why you're glad he or she is alive. And another, gratitude is your relationship's safe deposit box, ensuring that your love will eternally rock. Acknowledge your partner's virtue, and he or she will stick to you like glue. Alrighty. Say why you hold your partner in high esteem rather than using your words to cream. Here's another. Sing your partner's praises and your love won't go through such crappy phases. Try gratitude instead of attitude. Appreciate rather than denigrate. And to end relationship strife, remind her why you're glad she's your wife. And delouse your relationship house by being grateful to your spouse. And the more gratitude you sow, the more gratitude you reap. And remind your partner why he or she is a keeper, and you will be a gratitude reaper. Alrighty. Now let me also tell you something else. Very interesting. When I was looking at the definition of gratitude, I came across something interesting. The word grace. Late 12th century. This word came into being in the late 12th century, and it means God's favor or help, from the Old French grace, pardon, divine grace, mercy, favor, thanks, elegance, virtue. But it comes from the Latin gratia, favor, esteem, reward, pleasing quality, goodwill, gratitude. So isn't it interesting that the word grace and gratitude are actually synonymous, which connects to what I was talking about gratitude, bringing your love of God back to your loved one. God lives inside your loved one. You bow and pray before your loved one. You are loving God. You see, it's all grace. It's a lovely, lovely circle, isn't it? Alrighty, there was one other little thing I wanted to tell you. Interesting piece of research. There's a link now between lack of sleep and lack of appreciation and gratitude for romantic partners. So get those Z's. Get those Z's. Because when you are not sleeping, you are going to be a grumpy bear, and it's not going to help you be grateful. So I'm going to sing you a little lullaby before I go to break. Take Sominex tonight and sleep. No, you don't need to take Sominex, but just yoga, deep breathing, meditate. And I also found a really excellent natural sleep aid, non-habit forming, works better than Ambien. I know I'm going to get sued now by the makers of Ambien. It's from Advanced Bionutritionals, and it's called the Advanced Sleep Formula. It is a marvelous, powerful formula that works on neurotransmitters. Check it out if you're having sleep troubles. All right, I'm going to take a brief break, and I'll be back with you in a moment on Ask Dr. Love Radio.
You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. To speak to Dr. Turndorf live on the air, call 888-463-6748. That's 888-463-6748. If you like what you're hearing, you can learn about Dr. Turndorf's techniques for turning conflict into connection and healing in her critically acclaimed, groundbreaking book, Till Death Do Us Part, Unless I Kill You First, a step-by-step guide for resolving relationship conflict. Find out more about this book and read a free excerpt by visiting AskDrLove.com. This is Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. And if you have a question for her, please call in now at 888-463-6748. This show is for you, the listeners, so please give her a call now. You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Jamie Turndorf, Ph.D. Once again, here's Dr. Love.
Hello again, and welcome back to Ask Dr. Love Radio. I'm happy and grateful to be with you today. Actually, I wrote a poem right after my husband left his body, and it was a poem of gratitude, which kind of seems funny. Why would I write a poem of gratitude? But I said that I'm upright and dressing is a blessing. I was just so demoralized that I had to find something to be grateful for, so I was breathing. So here we are, Rebound Girl. This is a question I promised to answer. It just came in, and I selected it, and you'll see why. Dear Dr. Love, I just wanted to get advice regarding my relationship. I was the rebound girl. He had just gotten out of a 2-year relationship when he started dating me. We dated for a couple of weeks until he asked me to make it official. Me being blinded and loving the feeling of having someone who said yes, even though I was unsure. He kept on talking about her when he was with me, and then he still goes out with her, only the two of them when he was seeing me, and that time I thought it was okay because they had a past, so I was just being mature about it. But 3 days after we became official, he ditched our plans because she asked him for help at the last minute. And at that time, me and my friends were waiting for him because we needed a man to help us carry the stuff that we bought, but he ditched me because he had said she was annoying him, so he stayed with her. And the girl knows that we are waiting for my boyfriend, but they still hung out. And that was the time I realized that I was the rebound. And then we talked and settled the issue. I forgave him, and he slowly avoided his ex. I asked him if he still loves her, and if he does, then I'm breaking up with him, but he said that he wants me. So I forgave him about it. But then his ex won't stop asking for favors, and then sometimes he can't say no. So he told her off, and that she was ruining our relationship, and then everything's okay now, and he avoided her. But then I really feel angry, and I can't accept the fact that he did that to me. I loved him so much, and I wanted to feel important to him, and then we had a serious talk, and he used to tell me that he fell in love with me before we became a couple, but apparently it's not true because he later admitted that he fell in love with me 3 months after. And sometimes I feel that he doesn't appreciate me that much, and he does not really love me that much, but I stayed with him because I really love him, and our rows is only over his ex-girlfriend. People were telling me to find somebody better, but I stayed with him because I wanted to prove them wrong. But I'm constantly comparing his efforts with me to the efforts he did with his ex-girlfriend, and it kills me that he does more for her and he gets easily affected by their rows when they were together compared to ours. And I knew this because I know his ex, and I really don't know what to do. People could tell me that he was using me as a rebound, and he did not love me at all, and they were implying it to me, but I still stayed. And I tried to break up with him a couple of times because I feel so insecure and I don't feel that I'm that important to him. But he keeps on saying the right words, and every time I'll do this. And I would think that I can't live without him. And I really love him so much, I just don't know how he can reciprocate my feelings for him. And I don't want to lose him, but deep inside I also want to be treated right. What should I do? Okay, so rebound girl, here is the deal. I hear you talking in what I call emotional Morse code. Now, what do I mean by that? You know, on the surface, it would seem that you are only discussing your boyfriend and how you've been hurt by his attachment to his ex, but I hear you talking in emotional Morse code about a deeper wound that you suffered as a kid. Now, I'm sensing that you didn't feel special when you were young, and that you felt your parents perhaps favored another sibling over you, and that you felt and feel less than worthy of love. Now, when you find yourself caught in a repetitive scenario, you know that you're dealing with trauma. In fact, repetition is the way that the mind relives old injuries in order to work through the pain and attempts to obtain a resolution, or what I call a happy ending, to that old pain. The first step of the repetition is to choose a partner who's going to recreate the old dance for you. So in your case, you chose a guy who wasn't emotionally available. You said that he talked only about her from the get-go. So you knew he wasn't available, and you knew you were the rebound girl, but yet you chose to stick with him. Now, can you see what a perfect recreation that was? You get to feel once again like you aren't special and first. Now, if you notice, all your disputes revolve around your feeling that he prefers her to you and that he loves her more than he ever loved you. So your unconscious actually set the stage for you so that you could perfectly relive your old pain. Now, in addition to repeating your old scar, it sounds like you have another issue going on. You refuse to forgive him. In fact, the grudge sounds to be like it's serving you, and I'm going to get to what I think it's serving you about in a moment. Now, let me just tell you that what you're not seeing is the fact that you volunteered to receive the pain. You chose a guy who was still emotionally attached elsewhere, and without consciously knowing it, your mind actually set you up to feel wronged again. Now, why would your mind have done this to you? And it's simple. You have a lot of pent-up hurt and anger toward whoever did you wrong when you were young. Now, by not letting go of the grudge with your boyfriend, you are actually releasing mountains of anger toward the parent who let you down. Now, unfortunately, your boyfriend becomes the fall guy. And you're also suffering, too, because you are seriously stuck. Now, to break free, you've got to see one thing about how hard this guy is trying to do right by you. Because you said yourself, he says all the right things to you, and then he even yelled at his ex, and he set boundaries with her. So the problem here is that your old scar and the feelings of hurt and anger from before are preventing you from giving this guy a break. So instead of seeing the growth and the changes he's made, you only see the past. And that you won't forgive him for what he did wrong makes me think that you're actually carrying on with an old grudge toward your parent for what he did or she did wrong to you. Now, let's break down what you got to do to get out of this mess. First, I want you to recognize and heal your old scar. Connect up what you feel with him and how it links up to how you felt as a kid. Put your hurt and anger where it really belongs, with the parent who let you down. Then I want you to take a hard look at the situation with him. You say you're holding a grudge against him because of how he hurt you. Again, how much of your grudge is actually old anger that's meant for your parents, not him? Because the guy really, he just came in with an attachment, and he's done everything to be loyal to you ever since that I can see. So take a look at whether your past is actually haunting your present. Notice that he's telling you all the right things, and he's even walking the walk by telling off his ex and setting boundaries with her. Now, take responsibility next for your partner choice. You picked the guy who was still attached to another. You chose to stay. Now, if you accept this, your anger toward him should fade. Now, as you take responsibility for your choice and you heal your old scar with your parent, your anger toward him should really dissipate. And then you should be able to take in and value all the right words and actions that he's giving you. But if you still don't feel right about him after you've healed your old scar and you've accepted your own responsibility in your choice and in staying with him, then he may not be the right guy for you. Now, by the way, I want you to improve what I call your personal net worth, because it sounds to me like you don't feel deserving of love. If you notice how you spoke to me regarding his liking you, you sounded like a poor wayward orphan who was just so grateful that someone said yes. Those were your words. And you speak also about feeling like you can't live without him. These feelings aren't healthy. So I want you to see my book, Make Up, Don't Break Up, and it's going to give you full details on how to repair your self-esteem. Feeling strong in your own right and capable of being single, you're going to have the final key that allows you to make a clear-headed decision about him. So I've given you a lot to work on. This is the blueprint for getting out of this stuckness, okay? I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you figure out. All right. Now I have another question. This one's called Depressed Boyfriend. And here's how it goes. Dear Dr. Love, I've been with my boyfriend for almost 2 years now, and lately everything around him is crashing down. I tried to explain everything will get better in his life, and it just gets worse. His car has broke down. It's been broken down for 4 months. His sister screwed him over, and he owes $4,000 to her apartments. And then someone stole his phone. His grandma went to the hospital, and that's just a few things that he's going through. And I keep trying to tell him it will be okay, and now he is to the point where he just doesn't believe me anymore. He's doubting himself, and I wonder what I can do to help him through these hard times. I'm worried that if he doesn't see the good things he has and the bad things are just dragging him down, what will happen to us if he stays so depressed? What can I do? Please help me, Dr. Love. Okay. So I hear that you're terrified that your relationship won't survive his depression. I hear that, and that's why you want to help him feel better. Okay. The problem is, obviously, you can't change somebody else's mood. He's responsible for his emotional states, not you. It's like the old joke, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? 1, but the light bulb's really got to want to change. That applies to you. Okay, but I can give you some pointers to share with him, but then he's got to take the ball and run with it. So first off, let me say that your boyfriend is experiencing an emotional, a psychological, and a spiritual crisis. He's getting the 3-time punch. Now, on the emotional, psychological dimension, it would be good for him to know, and I'd like you to tell him what I said about this, that he's depressed because he hasn't accessed his feelings of anger over life not going his way. Now, when a person is angry and buries the anger, those feelings morph into depression. Now, it sounds like he's also engaged in self-attack. You said that he's doubting himself. That's self-attack. And self-attack is a common byproduct of buried anger. In other words, rather than turning the anger outward, it gets turned back on the self in the form of self-blame, self-doubt, self-attack. When a person accesses the real feelings of anger, the depression and the self-blame generally just lift. Now, depression can also come from feeling powerless. And when I heard about your boyfriend's tale of woe, it occurred to me that he is rather powerless in life. Now, some of the things that have happened he has no control over, like his grandma going to the hospital. But there are other aspects of his life in which I think he could exert more control, which would help him to feel less powerless and less depressed. For example, it sounds like his car being broken down for 4 months may be due to lack of funds to fix it. And here's where he could take stock in his life and perhaps make some changes that will, in the long run, improve his status in life and give him more power. For example, he might consider going back to school so that he can get a better job, make more money, get out of debt. Now I want to talk about the spiritual dimension here. Now, I sense that your guy lacks a strong faith base. And without a foundation of religious or spiritual faith, a person can easily tank in the face of stress. Because faith provides a perspective that helps us through the hard times. For example, when your life is grounded in faith, you find it easier to accept life's struggles. When you have faith, you know that life isn't supposed to be easy. Life is a vale of tears. When you know this, you don't crumble when the tough times are here. You know that life also beats us down to teach us empathy for others. to remind us that others have it way worse than we do, and even to be grateful for the trials we have. This is a faith, spirit-based way of looking at the struggles. And the hardest times are also laid before us so we can master our own spiritual lessons. And through it all, you know that God and loved ones in spirit are here to hold your hand and support you through your hard times. And faith also reminds you that nothing lasts forever. I mean, ultimately, this ride on earth is very short, and then we move on to our spirit bodies. So some share some of my points with him, and I really, really hope that this broader perspective is going to help him to feel better. So it works for my other patients, so I really believe it'll help him. Now, I'm going to have to take a break because, I'm just so excited. I want to answer every question. I want to do everything that I can to make life better for you. Let me just take a little brief break. And when I come back, I'm going to answer the question, need answers before it's too late. Be back in a moment on Ask Dr. Love Radio.
You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Dr. Jamie Turndorf. To speak to Dr. Turndorf live on the air, call 888-463-6748. That's 888-463-6748. If you've recently been through a breakup and are looking for a second chance, wondering how you can reconcile with your ex, or if it's even possible after all you've been through, Dr. Turndorf's latest book, Make Up, Don't Break Up, presents her 5-step plan for reconciling with your ex. This plan was developed out of years of research, working with thousands of couples at her Center for Emotional Communication. This is a proven no-hype and no-nonsense method that gets right to the root of the problem to guide you to the right path towards reigniting a lasting relationship. For more about Make Up, Don't Break Up, visit AskDrLove.com. You're listening to Ask Dr. Love with Jamie Turndorf, Ph.D. Once again, here's Dr. Love.
Hello again, and welcome back to Ask Dr. Love Radio. I'm Dr. Jamie Turndorf, and I'm laying some questions on you. This one is going to blow your mind. It's called Need Answers Before It's Too Late. Dear Dr. Love, it has been 2 years that I've been with my boyfriend, and my boyfriend is very understanding despite the fact that I am impatient and moody. He never cheated on me, so I guess I should be thankful for that. My problem is that he always fails to add an extra ingredient to all the special occasions within the range of our relationship. The latest are my birthday and our 2-year anniversary. For my birthday, he didn't even show up. I was all alone in my apartment. During our anniversary, a date couldn't fit in with our busy schedule, and we both have lots of expenses. And I'm not a material person. He could have at least given me a heartwarming letter or a very sweet SMS message. He is my first boyfriend. I'm only 20. My problems regarding his actions have been bothering me from our first year until the present, and I'm wondering why I'm still trying to find love from other people. And I always grab the opportunity when I find a cute guy who shows interest for me. But of course, none of these turned into a relationship because I have a boyfriend. And lately I was flirting with this cute neighbor who also has a girlfriend. And when he started avoiding me, I developed an attraction to one of my blockmates. And I'd like to know what is wrong with me. Why am I not happy with just my boyfriend? Why am I still looking for love from other people? Signed, Troubled Girl. Okay, listen, troubled girl. You ask what's wrong with you, and specifically you want to know why you're seeking attention and love from other men and why you aren't satisfied with just your boyfriend. Now, let me give you an analogy that's going to answer your question. Imagine you're sitting down to dinner. You're starved. The plate that's put before you is empty. You leave the table without having eaten, and you still are hungry. In this case, would you ask me what's wrong with you? Would you wonder why you're hungry? So listen. You're hungry because your needs aren't being met in your relationship. And I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to say that I don't think that you believe deep down that you deserve to be treated well. And I think you feel guilty over being irritable with him. See it? You're guilty over being moody and irritable. You don't think you deserve to be treated well. And I think you unconsciously feel that you deserve to be punished for the way you don't treat him well. And when you say, at least he doesn't cheat on me, I hear you saying, I don't deserve to be treated nicely because I'm a bitch to him. So I'm lucky that he doesn't cheat on me. Now, you're both locked in a vicious cycle. You're irritable because he doesn't feed you on some basic levels. So you go off on him, and he resents you for it. Okay, he doesn't cheat, but he punishes you in another way by forgetting your birthday and your anniversary. And when he forgets, you behave in a moody, irritable way, which angers him and makes him forget some more. See the vicious cycle? The problem here is you're both acting out your feelings rather than talking about them. Because I've always said, if you've been listening to me, acting begets a counter reaction, which begets a bigger counter reaction. And now we're in a cycle, a war cycle. So you feel hurt, you act moody. He gets mad when you act moody and irritable, so he gets back at you by neglectful acts. Now, most relationships fall apart precisely because couples act out rather than communicate their feelings in a constructive way. So to break this negative cycle, you've got to stop acting moody and irritable, and you've got to talk to him instead using constructive communications. Now, the most constructive communications are proactive, meaning you tell your partner what you like and what you want so that he has a chance to please you rather than waiting until he lets you down, because it's much harder to be constructive and positive in your communications, to not sound nagging, blaming, criticizing, whining, and so on, when you've already been let down and you're telling him so. So, as I said, when you criticize him, he's going to feel hurt and angry, and he's going to pay you back by withholding, because he's withholding. Okay, so from now on, I want you to tell him in a calm and neutral tone before your birthday or anniversary how much it would mean for you to receive a sweet SMS message from him acknowledging the day. When he responds to your wishes, which he will if you communicate your needs correctly, I want you to make a fuss about it. Be grateful. Praise him. Offering gratitude and praise is the best way to encourage more of the same behavior that you want coming at you. Because we humans seek pleasure, he will want to continue behaving in ways that bring him positive feelings. So do what I instruct, and you're going to have him eating out of the palm of your hand. You might actually end up eating out. And he's going to want to remember all the things that please you. Do you see what I'm telling you? Okay, so listen to Dr. Love. I'm like your nagging mother here. If you really listen, play back what I said, hear it. I have given you the absolute blueprint for how to get out of this mess. And this applies to everybody who's listening. Be proactive, say what you need, and be praising and grateful when you get it, and you will be training the other person to treat you better and better, and that's how you will create your cycle of gratitude. Alrighty, so let me give you another question now. This is the reading between the sheets segment, so we're going to step into the bedroom now. Married lady who is guilty over her attraction to another man. Alrighty, here, dear Dr. Love, help me please. I'm so confused. I've been married for 8 years this September 2nd. My husband and I have been together for 13 years. I've been with him since I was 13. He's the only man I've ever loved, but now I'm confused. Lately there has been somebody else on my mind, and it's not my husband. I feel so terribly guilty about it. I hate myself. I just don't know what it is I'm feeling. My husband and I have been through hell and back, and I mean hell. Now our relationship marriage is the best it's ever been, or so I thought, and I have to go and feel this thing that I'm confused about. I met this guy 2 years ago as I was picking up my husband's dry cleaning. I tell you what, that dry cleaner, it's taken you to the cleaner, huh? So that same day, in the later part of the evening, we ran into each other again at a gas station. He shyly came up to me and said, is this fate that we run into each other 2 times in a day? And then please give me your name. And I defensively showed him my wedding ring and told him, sorry, buddy, wrong fate. 2 weeks later, as I was leaving my office building, I saw the car that he was driving parked in the same parking lot. And I thought to myself, impossible. But the next day, sure enough, I saw him get into the car. It scared me. I don't know why. But I made it a point that we wouldn't run into each other by parking on the other parking lot across the way. Well, as fate would have it, a week later, he saw me. And he was as shocked as I was to learn that we actually worked in the same building and never ran into each other until now. So we've been talking back and forth since, just as friends, although occasionally we say some sort of flirting words such as what ifs, and have even mutually confessed our attraction, strong feelings to each other, but never pursued anything. We both feel so connected somehow, and it's so strange that we can talk for hours as if we were running out of time. Well, now I just recently found out that my husband had an affair. Ouch, how it hurt me, not only because it's the third time since we've been married that he has been unfaithful, but because he weakened to temptation once again, while here I was ignoring my strong feelings for the other man. And I don't even understand what love is anymore, when there is so much pain that comes along with it. Am I in love with the other man? Do I love my husband? Or does my hubby love me? All these questions keep lingering in my head, and I can't seem to come up with the right answer. I've always done what's morally right in my mind, and now I can't seem to understand what's moral here, and what morals were even created for. And if I have to live so miserably, please help me understand. Please. Okay. Listen, you're beating yourself to a bloody pulp because you have desire for another man. But you seem to forget that you haven't acted on your desires. You haven't done anything wrong. You never cheated on your mate, and still you're crucifying yourself. So I think you need to bone up on the difference between feeling and acting. Humans are filled with all sorts of irrational and uncontrollable thoughts and feelings and fantasies, and if we try to subject these thoughts to reason or attempt to extinguish them, we go literally nuts. So for goodness sake, recognize the universal and essential function of feeling all your feelings and stop indicting yourself. Now, you're on the right track when you say you need to understand, because this is where your energy needs to be placed. In fact, whenever a married or committed person has strong feelings for someone else, his or her mind is sending vital information that needs to be decoded. So what is this crush telling you regarding how you feel about your main squeeze? Now, as a first clue, I want you to notice that you mentioned in passing that your husband has had 3 affairs during your marriage. And I couldn't help but observe that you were rather cool when you presented this fact. And I've seen how passionate your feelings are, and I can't help but wonder why you sound so cool about your husband's infidelities. So is it possible that you suffer such strong feelings of hurt and anger over his cheating that you buried these feelings alive in order to cope? And you may say that you've already grieved over your mate's betrayals and the feelings are resolved, but I don't believe it. I doubt that you're over his hurtful actions. And I think you need to ask yourself how you really feel about what your husband did. And once you know, you're going to have a clue as to why you have fallen for this other man. Because I sense that this crush performs a vital and marriage-saving function for you, or so you think. Because I think your mind has allowed you to succumb to this other man in an effort to wipe out the pain and anger over your husband's betrayals. Now, your task, this is what I want you to do. You got to figure out what you hope to gain by having a relationship with the other man. And do you see him as a person that you can trust more than your husband? Does your mind believe that if you had an affair that it would ease your hurt over or punish your husband for what he did to you? Now, in order to answer my questions, you have to figure out how you feel about your husband's previous betrayals, how you feel about your husband now. Do you really trust him? What emotional needs do you think this man can satisfy that your husband can't? And how your unconscious mind imagines that this affair could heal your wounds. So mind you, I'm not telling you to have the affair. All I'm saying is to use this crush as a psychological messenger. Be thankful that it's arrived and use the opportunity to learn and grow. Now, as painful as this experience is, if you stop punishing yourself, you're going to find that it's actually a gift in disguise, which invites you to embrace yourself and your true needs. Now, as you open to your needs, I believe you're going to realize that many of your needs aren't being met in your marriage, okay? And as you open up to your husband and share your disappointments, I think you're going to discover that he has many of his own disappointments that he hasn't shared with you. And his affairs were his own flares sent out to alert you that things aren't working for him in the marriage either. So opening up your heart and your eyes and bringing your aware self to your husband is going to be the beginning of a tremendously healing experience for both you and your marriage. So use my book, Till Death Do Us Part, to help you navigate through the rough seas and steer you through to smooth waters and a happier relationship. And I want to hear from you. I want to know how you make out. So this was a really, really intense show. I want you to start thinking now. Use your observing ego and thinking consciously about bringing gratitude into your life, into your heart, focusing on what you appreciate, being grateful, making it a prayer, a worship, and at the same time sharing your gratitude with your spouse, stating directly what you need rather than ragging on your partner for what you're not getting. And then when your partner meets your needs, reward it with more gratitude and appreciation. You see, this is how you're going to become overwhelmed with a cycle of gratitude, and your marriage, your relationship is going to thrive as a result of it. Now, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this sleep study, because University of Berkeley is a really excellent research outfit. And I wanted you to know that they did this study of 60 heterosexual couples between the ages of 18 and 56, and they used 3 separate exercises to measure how sleep affects levels of gratitude. Can you believe this? And this is what the study found. I didn't get to say that for a moment. After a night of sleep, people couldn't think of anything that they were grateful for their husbands about or their wives about. So I want you to remember again, get the Z's. Think about gratitude. Make it like a prayer. Get on your knees, literally. Think and itemize all the things you're grateful for. Tell your partner. Share it. State what you need directly. Be grateful when your needs are met. And I promise you, you're going to live happily ever after. So, write to me. You know, my webmaster is going to be putting more feedback on the site. I want to hear from you what you want to tell me about. And I'll talk to you next week on Ask Dr. Love Radio. Bye-bye.